Superman. Doop doo doo. They even that's not his song. But spoilers for Superman. Um, it starts off where a lot of us seen the opening scene where he falls into the Antarctic and being dragged into the forces of solitude. He has been defeated for the first time. It kind of gives you a brief summary of the last 3 years, a little bit about him. We kind of know the stories for man. So I mean, they're trying to just to have that as a framework to where they're building with. This is very colorful, more stylistic. It's not as dark as Man of Steel. So, and remember, Man of Steel came right off the heels of the Dark Knight trilogy. So it was like that darker tone was kind of a thing. With James Gunn, he's very good at style, at feel, at set designs for these type of movies. Even when you look at Guardians of the Galaxy and things of that nature, I think he really shines in those things and creating worlds that feel accomplished in that. And so, that was cool. The Justice Gang, that was like the unofficial official name. Of course, I guess they're going to be coming the Justice League eventually. But that was a cool thing to see. Great cameo by John Cena as Peacemaker. Did not see that coming. Great cameo. When I was in theaters, that got a huge pop for John Cena being there. So that was kind of cool to have him as a cameo in this. I know a lot of this would probably tie into Peacemaker season 2. So that was kind of cool to see John Cena do that cameo. There was a little bit of times I think it got a little bit too silly. In moments I think they should have really leaned more into the emotionalism of it. That was just my take. There was one scene with Paul Kent and Clark that really was a great scene. Really great acting done by Paul Kent and Clark, and you could just really tell the love that he had for his son in that moment. And I thought that was a really touching scene. I think that was a great scene because Paul Kent is such an important piece to Clark's identity. So this is not like in Man of Steel or a lot of the other iterations where he dies and then he becomes Superman. So Paul Kent is alive while he is Superman. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, I think he did an okay job. I think he didn't have much to work with, and I think he made the best of what he had to work with. I liked him as Lex. He was a solid Lex Luthor. I think he's better than Jesse Eisenberg. I think his name is. I think he's better than him. He didn't do it for me as Lex. He just did not do it for me as Lex. But Nicholas did. I like Nicholas. I think he. I think they did held it down. Lex technically is the main bad in this film. Ultraman is in this, aka Bizarro, which is kind of played out with Superman lore. And the one lady, I can't think of her name now, that she had the ability to transform her body into anything. These nanobites. They were kind of like his henchmen, but Lex is clearly the main bad in this film. And which we haven't really seen in Superman film since what, 1? Where Lex Luthor is like the main antagonist of the film. So that was kind of cool, and I was kind of for the film to establish the DC universe and to establish Superman. I think Lex should have been the villain for this. I think if they would have went Zod, it would have went way too much comparison to Man of Steel, and I think they needed to be as far as way from comparing to Man of Steel. I think this was a really good movie. I think this is a really great kickoff to DC. It's different than a lot of things we have seen from DC. So if you're more a fan of the darker tone, you're not going to get it in this movie. It's a very much different feel. It feels more DC than a lot of DC stuff. As far as comic book accuracy, it feels really closer to the comic book than a lot of the other iterations of Superman we've ever seen, including Christopher Reeves. Like this, it feels more closer to the comic book iteration. Also, I think it honors all the other on-screen Supermans we've ever seen as well. Shout out to Crypto. And who ever thought we have a Crypto in a movie? So that was dope to see Crypto in a Superman movie. Really, really dope. Man, that was a nice touch by James Gunn. But I liked the movie, man. It was a great, phenomenal time. It was a good time in the theaters. And I'm telling you, have not seen this movie, you need to go check it out, especially if you're a Superman fan. I think you might like it. If you're more of a Man of Steel fan, you probably won't like this movie. So, just a heads up on that. But it's worth the check out. It's going to be probably a huge box office film, so cannot wait to see.